This program is brought to you by the Media Liberty Alliance Foundation in cooperation with OBBM Network TV, bringing citizen-led, creative local media to the forefront of local communities to foster a greater understanding of constitutional liberty and appreciation of what makes us truly free, starting with you and me.
Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. That way you're updated each time fresh content comes out. And thank you for being part of the Zach Rateliff Show.
The Zach Rateliff Show is brought to you by Mortgage Financial in Texarkana, Exceed Health Clinic on Mall Drive in Texarkana, Elmwood Custom Goods, and Church on the Rock, Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org.
The 4th of July marks the 250th anniversary of America. A group of national leaders will read aloud the entire Bible in a week in Washington. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said this is more than symbolism, it's a rededication, and he's right. Faith in the Bible played a huge role in shaping America from the beginning. It's time to repent and turn our hearts back to God. I'm Pastor John Miller. Visit me at churchontherock.org.
Hello and welcome to the Zach Rateliff Show. I'm Zach. I'm glad to be with you. Glad you are with me. I appreciate you being part of the show. Appreciate you listening. You know what? Thank God for another day. It's rainy outside and thundering, or as my grandfather used to say, the old tater wagon is a-turning over. But I'm still glad to be here. I'm still glad to be in the greatest country God ever put on the face of this earth, creating more freedom religiously and economically than anywhere in the history of the world, and then carrying it around the world as we are commissioned to do. All right, let's jump into it. We're just going to do rapid fire news today, see what's going on. Just going to work backwards, so it'll be more recent from like today than going backwards to, I believe we'll get to the attempted assassination of Donald Trump over the weekend, which was wild. That's number 3 that's been on tape. There's no telling how many we don't know about. And then on that point, I think he's doing something right. But anyway, we'll start here. It's gonna, like normal, be a lot of X.com and all that, but we're just gonna kind of go through it. So from Gunther Engelman on X.com, the FCC just dropped a hammer on Disney, forcing them to have early license renewal for their states over, file for its ABC TV station license. So due to the possible violations of the Communications Act of 1934, the prohibition on unlawful discrimination, the chairman Carr is calling it essential under the public interest standard, saying, and this is what Gunther Engelman says, he says it's about time. Disney and ABC spent years pushing woke propaganda, race quotes, and anti-American garbage while hiding behind their broadcast licenses. Yeah, but if you were discriminatory in that and you broke the law, so that's what's coming there. That's good to see. Here's something that I found interesting, and I remember this from COVID, but just kind of a fever dream type deal. But anyway, it's still going on. This is from MAGA Jesse on X.com. Hakeem Jeffries has been voting on behalf of Maxine Waters for months, as she has been absent. She's been absent from Congress for months. And it happened to some other old lady about this time last year, right? Turned out she was in a home down in Texas. I think that one was a Republican. They just vote for them. You don't even have to be there. What kind of crazy is that? Yeah, I mean, do you get to do, well, maybe you do. But does it get counted, does it get counted as work if you're not there and not doing anything? This shouldn't be. Anyway, so he's been proxy voting. Look, they already have everything handed to them. They already get to rip us off on the stock market and then send our soldiers to to prison for doing the exact same thing. They already lie to us, have their own health care. You know, have, I mean, everything. But now she can't even show up to vote. And look, hey, if she got too old and she can't do it, that's fine. Resign. Or just don't vote. But you don't get to keep voting. You don't get to keep doing the same thing. You don't get to and get all the benefits. You're not our ruler. You don't just get to keep doing it. You're supposed to represent us. When you can't do that, you're no longer useful to us. Anyway, let's keep rolling. Big news. This is from Nick Sorter. It's official, and from Fox News. Trump's nominee for Federal Reserve Chair, Kevin Warsh, has been approved by the Senate Banking Committee, 13-11. I'm sure that's the Democrat to Republican breakdown, and he will move forward to a full vote in the U.S. Senate. Senator Fetterman has already said he will vote for Warsh. So as long as the Republicans stick together, this guy should go through, and hopefully this is a good sign to come for those of us in, markets or in jobs that are dependent on the interest rate. I mean, a lot of what I do is directly affected by that. And so, anyway, hope this works out well for us. We'll see. Okay, so I've got two stories on this. Number one is the Supreme Court just passed down a ruling 6-3 that you can no longer draw congressional districts based on race. If you look at the current Louisiana map, is how this got there. That's the court case. It's drawn to give certain representation to different races, and it's like, no, you can't do that. You just have to represent. This little Rateliffology here. It should just be squares. All right, we got 750,000 people. Here's a square. Here's another square. If your square it can be real small and have 750,000 in it, fine. If you need a bigger square, fine. But 750,000 people, because I think that's the number. Anyway, so that just came down 6-3. So all conservatives voting together on this, which means they're probably following the Constitution. And then, of course, the three liberals that are just going to go against anything that could hurt their political party. So there's that. So, it means that if it's done right, this could be huge for the Republicans in this year's election in November. Well, so then there's this. The Florida State House just passed Governor Ron DeSantis's 2026 congressional map. And it shows Republicans gaining 4 seats. That's exactly right. And you could gain some in Louisiana, and you could gain some in other places. Put that on top of the Supreme Court of Virginia coming down and saying, no, this map doesn't hold. Because, they basically did the opposite in Virginia. This could be good. We're getting back to the Constitution, to the rule of law. And that's where we need to be. That's what we need to be doing. It's crazy when we have people that will represent us and follow the Constitution. How the guys that made this up, I believe, through the inspiration of God himself, how well this thing works. So we just got to keep praying about it. We got to keep pushing forward. We got to keep moving, we got to keep moving back to the Constitution, because I've said for years now we're post-constitutional, but if we could get back to some semblance of it, that would be great. And these steps help that. Here's this, though, from Breitbart News. It says, warmth of collectivism update. Mayor Zoran Mandami declares a budget crisis, asks for a bailout from the state government, and pushes back his deadline for completing the city budget. At least, he ran out of money. You tell all the people with money you're going to take their money, guess what they do? They leave. You cannot continue to fleece the makers and give to the takers and not expect any repercussions. It's a crazy concept. Why would someone ever think they could do that? Anyway, so now he's having to say, well, maybe this doesn't work. Maybe we need some help from the state. That's exactly right. It's not just a money tree. Somebody has to make that money. You know, I saw Bill Maher say it. Yeah, I don't know that he said it yesterday. I saw the recording of him saying it yesterday. But he said what old Zach's been telling you for years. 60%, if you're a top wage earner, your top income tax bracket payer, 60% of every dollar you make goes to taxes. And you don't have to live in New York for that to happen. It's more than that there. Why is that fair? Why are we punishing those who are successful? Oh, the tater wagon rolled over again. Why are we punishing those who are successful? Because they deserve it. No, they don't deserve it. You know? So here's this. Apparently, Massachusetts has something called duplicate registrations. This is from Mila Joy on X.com. So people that have registered to vote twice from 2022 to 2024, Massachusetts had 744,880 duplicate registrations. Guess what? Elizabeth Warren won her race by 676,228 votes. Not saying it directly impacts it, but you had more people double registered than what she won by. Huh. Convenient. Once again, just a coincidence. Doesn't have anything to do with reality, probably. I mean, who would ever... crazy conspiracy out there, you know, that just keep coming true. But look, the Democrats are going to steal, lie, and cheat from us every way they can. And even when we catch them, they'll tell us we're crazy for thinking they'd do something like that. That's the way it always happens. That's the way it always goes. Deny, deny, deny. And then once you're just 100% caught, go, I can't believe you're so racist you'd say a thing like that about me. I can't believe you're so this or you're so that. How crazy are you? And then you're like, well, maybe I am. Who would do that? And then it turns out they did everything that you thought they were doing. Gaslighting at its finest, some would say. Okay, Nick Sorter on X.com says, Epic. King Charles just gifted Prince Trump. Prince Trump. Now, some of you are going to email out for that. Just gifted President Trump the bell from the UK's HMS Trump, which was a World War II submarine. That's awesome. I saw yesterday that they're like 15th cousins somehow. So there's that. And then here's what was funny. If you didn't watch King Charles's speech at the white tie state dinner, you should have. It was very lighthearted and good. And you know, he talked about the East Wing. He said it seems there's some remodeling going on in the East Wing. He said the British tried to remodel it in 1814. That's funny. That's funny. And then, you know, he just made, no, I don't know if it was all him, but it was from a speechwriter, but a little levity, you know, that was good. It's all good. I enjoyed seeing it. I enjoyed watching it. And then, you know, to have the U.S. Army out there dressed as in clothes from the Revolution and in those uniforms, that was cool. And have the U.S. Army band out there performing, it was awesome. I appreciate the pageantry of it all, because there is something about statesmanship, right? There is something about that, and that's what Trump's trying to do with this ballroom. Anywhere else, you know, you've heard him talk about it. Anywhere else you go in the world, there's gold and there's this and there's that, and there's power projected. I went to the changing of the guard one time.
The Zach Rateliff Show is brought to you by Mortgage Financial in Texarkana, Exceed Health Clinic on Mall Drive in Texarkana, Elmwood Custom Goods, and Church on the Rock, Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org.
The 4th of July marks the 250th anniversary of America. A group of national leaders will read aloud the entire Bible in a week in Washington. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said this is more than symbolism, it's a rededication, and he's right. Faith in the Bible played a huge role in shaping America from the beginning. It's time to repent and turn our hearts back to God. I'm Pastor John Miller. Visit me at churchontherock.org.
Well, actually, I don't guess that matters. One time I saw it though in Paris, and we were in there and inside this building, and they had each branch of their military represented, and then the defense minister or whatever they call him was there, and there was pomp and circumstance, and there was pageantry, and it was awesome. And then went to Buckingham Palace and then saw the changing of the guard there. And then, the Queen came riding by, and like it was a big deal. I mean, and by riding by, I mean in her motorcade. And it was a big deal. It's good to show what you've got. So now, not everything, but it's good to show off a little bit every now and then. It's good to let people see that you're keeping it together. Anyway, I'm just not mad about it. Here's another article about Mandami. I'm going to skip it since we've already talked about it. Here's this, though. The UAE is considering leaving OPEC. If that happens, it cripples OPEC, and then all of a sudden they don't have direct control over over worldwide oil prices. And so this would be great. If we could get Saudi Arabia to join in that, then Iran's oil doesn't matter at all because they'll just start producing how much they can. That's the thing. The UAE and Saudi Arabia, they don't produce near as much as they could just to keep, basically a monopoly on the prices. That's what OPEC is. It's a monopoly. It wouldn't be allowed in country here because it'd be like Target and Walmart and whoever their competition is getting together and say, okay, all milk's going to be $15 a gallon, no matter what. And then if you get a little there, I will drop it down to 13. That's what OPEC is on a much larger scale. So if the UAE breaks away, I'm going to sell it for $3 a gallon. Oh, okay. Well, then they have to compete. So there you go. All right, let's keep going. Yesterday, an arrest warrant was issued for James Comey. And so he has been indicted again, so we'll see what happens. I like to see some progress. I like to see this happening. This acting attorney general, he seems to be taking no prisoners. Now, I will give you that there were, I often say this about Trump. And I tried to say this about Obama. There are things that we're not privy to, though, right? So I would think Pam Bondi was probably setting the stage for a lot of this to happen. But this new AG is coming in and rolling with it. This is about the Virginia case. Oh, here's this, though, from Secretary Brooke Rollins on X.com. This is huge. She's what is she the secretary of? Golly, I can't remember. Basically, she gets to look into SNAP and all that stuff. You should follow her if you get a chance. But anyway, she says in just one state, 14,000 individuals receiving SNAP benefits were driving the following luxury vehicles: 3 Bentleys, 3 Ferraris, 11 Lamborghinis, 59 Maseratis, 141 Porsches, 244 Alfa Romeos, 306 Land Rovers, and 2,098 Teslas. And she says, and that's in one state. We need to defend our nutrition programs for those in need, but that's exactly right. They're for those in need. Now, look, if you're on SNAP and can afford a Bentley, it's an issue. I'll give you if it's an old Land Rover, not a super old one because those are worth something, but a Land Rover that, maybe you found used in a good deal, maybe I can see it. But we're being gamed. We're being gamed in Minnesota. We're being gamed in California. We're being gamed in Little Rock. We're being gamed in Austin. We're being gamed in whatever capital of your state is, too. We're being gamed in Washington, D.C. They just keep taking because they never expected us to look. Don't look behind the curtain, Dorothy. Just believe the lie. Just believe. I tell you what I want. Paying all this money with all these cards, all these cars. I want my money back. That's right, Zach. I want my money back too. All of it. I'm for helping people. I'm not for people getting rich because we're too afraid to say something. Oh, you're going to call me a racist, so you can just keep stealing from me. Yeah, just call me a racist. Oh, we're going to keep stealing from you, or if you don't let us, we're going to call you sexist. Call me whatever you want to. I come from a world where, I'm rubber and you're glue. What you say bounces off me and sticks to you. I don't care what you say. I mean, to some degree I do. I am a person. That's why internet comments aren't always fun to read, right? But you push on. No big deal. Crazy. It's crazy. Oh, and here's this. So, Eric Doherty, this was yesterday. Federal agents have just stormed the Somali Quality that's right. They wrote it so wrong it confuses me to read. Quality Learning Center in Minneapolis. Over 20 spots rated, largely Somali run. 22 court-approved search warrants in the Minneapolis area per Fox. This is all because of Nick Shirley. Good job, Nick Shirley. And that's why California is trying to make it illegal for him to show up somewhere. Yeah, it's just crazy. Got another Maxine Waters article. It's just crazy what we've allowed. We've just been so taken advantage of. And once again, the people who use these systems and manipulate these systems never expected AI to have as big an impact as it did. They never saw it coming, where we could just feed something into a program and it tell it, oh, here's all your problems. Here's all your holes. Right? And they never expected El Trumpo. He, no one ever expected him to come in and doing what he's doing. He came in the first time and just tried to be civil and then they, and then they rolled on him. They tried to bankrupt him. They tried to bankrupt his family. They tried to put all the J6ers in prison. Right? Then they've tried to kill him 3 times. So now he's like, no, we got to go win. Here's this from Nick Sorter. It says, Friday was supposed to be Caroline Leavitt's last day before maternity leave. She's 39 weeks pregnant and could go any time. But she came back to the podium on Monday because the radical anti-Trump leftists tried to kill the president on Saturday. Yeah, this administration is all in. Look at the pictures. Look at them. They're for real change. And that's why they're hated. That's why their shots taken on Trump. Also because the media perpetuates, well, if you could have killed Hitler, would you? No. That's not the way to think about it. There's no woulda, couldas. You don't know what you would do. You don't know what you'd do if somebody came in and offered to sell you a candy bar right now. You want this candy bar? Well, maybe. Right? You don't know. There's no way to know what you'd do until you're there. But they ask that question, and then they talk all. We got to stop whatever. We've got to do whatever, and they just drive up vitriol and hate all the time. Okay, from Don Keith on X.com. Gavin Newsom's fire relief racket just got IRS confirmation, $800 million in fire aid for the Pacific Palisades LA fire victims never reached one single person. Not one single person. $800 million just disappeared. Don't worry, they're just going to make it illegal for Nick Shirley to come look. What? This is the problem. It's a grift. It's all a grift. And it's our tax money. And nobody says anything because they're getting rich off of it. From the Solyndra scandals to the this scandal or the that scandal. Nobody's paying attention, or at least acting like they're not paying attention, so they can keep getting that money. We're going to give it to these NGOs, and they're going to fund our campaigns, and they're going to, rent our family members some space somewhere, and then they're going to pay us some dividends, and it's all going to be okay because we're going to get rich, and we're just going to rule these idiots. That's what's happening. All the animals are equal, but the pigs get to live in the house because they're the pigs. As Peter Griffin says, it grinds my gears. This is from John Dunlap on X.com. Leader John Thune says he might not be able to allow a standing filibuster to pass voter ID and citizenship for elections because they don't have enough time. This was his plan the whole time. We've all said this was coming. He's just a coward that won't go, or he hates us. Or he's part of the Republican wing of the Democratic, part of the Democratic wing of the Republican Party. Which is more likely, maybe. Because he knows Republicans won't hold his feet to the fire. Because he knows he can say, well, here's some good things I did. And he'll throw us the crumbs, right? He'll give you the bread and he'll show you a circus and you'll be happy with him. This guy's got to lose this position. And then here's this from more cowardly Republicans. From Mike Engelman on X.com. House Republicans are blocking a motion to subpoena Ilhan Omar's immigration records. The Republicans are against the people too. It's a different wing of the same bird. We have to have accountability. We have to make these people do what is right for us. Just amazing. Okay, then have you saw this, or have you seen this? It's from Thomas Massey, but the story is automobile kill switches are coming soon to a car dealerships near you. And so by 2027, they're going to be able to, analyze your face and see if you're drunk or whatever. And if your face doesn't look right, your car just won't start. Now I can see the good in that. Except for what if your baby's dying and you need to get them to the hospital and you're out on the farm? Well, your face is going to look different. You're going to show worry. Your eyes are going to be dilated and your car's not going to start. Oh, that's crazy. Look, I have my truck. It was a 2021 model, and every now and then they'll say updating you won't be able to use once you turn off for the next 15 minutes. And I will shut it and lock the door, and no matter what I do, the key won't work to unlock the doors. The remote controls won't work. It will not unlock until it's through downloading. Nothing I can do about it. Even your transmission is electronic now. It's a bad deal if the government can look at you in your car anytime they want to. Your phone already takes a picture, every 5 to 10 seconds of you? It's crazy. Here's Hakeem Jeffries' response to Trump after the assassination attempt the other night. This is from NRCC on X.com. Moments ago, a visibly agitated Hakeem Jeffries said, "I stand by calling for maximum warfare against Republicans. You can continue to criticize me for it. I don't give a damn about your criticism." Remember when I was talking about earlier, the hateful things they say? Maximum warfare. He didn't say maximum pressure. He said maximum warfare. These guys know they're losing. If our Republican politicians would actually step up and do what we demand of them, this would be a lot easier. Anyway, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld the Texas 2026 congressional map. Great. Let's see what else we've got. Ron Johnson demanding the Senate GOP go nuclear, get rid of the filibuster, and pass everything. That's exactly right. That's all we need to do. All right, everybody. You're up to date. I'm Zach Rateliff. I hope God blesses each and every one of you today.